A mixture of slight fog and some clouds tonight, a calm wind, and a temperature of 67. About the same tomorrow, around 80, with a mixture of slight fog and some sun. Slightly foggy in the morning, followed by mostly sunshine Saturday and hot around 81. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Want to experience the ultimate car wash? At Tommy's Express, you'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading, flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Try us for free. Text WASH 415 to 86697 to send our best wash, The Works, directly to your phone. You'll love the sudsy clean, ceramic wax, underbody flush, spot-free rinse, and tire gloss. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today. Offer valid to new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional and information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
MLB is incoming, and you won't miss a game. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN+, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
I'm ready. Let me just grab my bag. Sweatpants, huh? Didn't know we were keeping it casual this month. Yeah, I feel bloated every now and then.
You have to try new Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies. They have prebiotics to nourish good bacteria, probiotics to help relieve occasional bloating, and postbiotics for immune support.
All that in one gummy?
Yep. So no sweatpants next time?
Not anymore.
Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies for gut health support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Powered by Panama City Toyota. GSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now back to the Inside Drive. Live from the Gulf Plus Studios. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Thursday morning, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coach Brian Haddad in studio with us this morning, and of course DJ Davey Crockett behind the glass. Two great guests coming up today. We've got Alan Sandage. He's the sports director from ESPN Richmond Radio. He joins us all the time. He did a mock for us earlier this year. He's going to do another one for us today. Talk about some of the players that he thinks may be steals, maybe busts, and stuff like that. Looking forward to talking to Alan at 11:20. And if you watched the selection show yesterday, you saw Coach Amy Bond get interviewed there on the Golf Channel. She will be joining us at 12:20 to talk about the ridiculous golf season that the Florida State Women's Seminoles had this spring. I don't even think they lost a tournament they played in. I got to follow up with that. Obviously, they're fresh off their ACC championship and fresh off being the top seed in the Lexington Regional. She's been in the national championship the last several years. This team just seems a little bit more special. But you're listening on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, and all of Bay County, a little bit of Walton County, a little bit of Gulf County down there as well. 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the beautiful Forgotten Coast. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. You can watch and listen live every day or go back and watch it after the fact. That is all you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. That is the Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1, and of course the afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one, you just got to search 104.3. Right now, you open that app up and you hit the Enter Contest button. You can win yourself a trifecta, trifecta. Well, I'm getting ready for the Derby, that's all. You can win a trio of shirts, a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida t-shirt, a Golf Plus t-shirt, and of course, I threw in an Inside Drive t-shirt as well. So again, all you got to do is open up your app, enter the contest, follow the prompts from there, get yourself an opportunity. And hey, if you want to go watch some playoff basketball, we've got a really short, sweet, simple contest for you guys. All you got to do is find the post on our Facebook page, which was posted yesterday, right before the afternoon Underdogs came on. So just like a little bit before 4 o'clock, and you'll see there, all you got to do is comment on the post, and you'll be entered to win a pair of tickets to see the Orlando Magic take on the Boston Celtics in Game 4 of the early first round Eastern Conference Championships there. So if you want to go watch some basketball, there's only 7 people that have commented thus far, so your odds are looking pretty good if you want an opportunity to win some tickets to a playoff basketball game. Obviously, the atmosphere is going to be awesome. Maybe it'll be, 1-2 at that point, but certainly looking like a little more like maybe 0-3. But, we'll get to some NBA talk a little bit later on. Am I missing anything? I think I got everything. Am I missing anything, David? I think I covered all the bases.
Good rundown, buddy.
Yeah. Coach Haddad, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Just anxiously awaiting how my Titans find a way to screw up the draft tonight.
Well, drafting Derrick Henry all over again.
Hey, that'd be good if you could find another one of those.
That's what they'll do. They'll draft someone who's not eligible and then get passed over for the number 1 pick.
I remember when that was my favorite pick of all time that the Titans made. I was playing softball, and I was walking up to the upstairs at Oakland Terrace to drop in our lineup, and as soon as I turn around to look at the TV, the Titans select Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that is the best draft pick of all time for the Titans. I mean, I'm sure they've made some better ones, but that's got to be one of the top ones.
It's up near the top.
For me, being a Bama fan, it was like, that is
that's the universe lining up for you right there. But Derrick Henry's now he's not with the Tennessee Titans
he's a Baltimore Raven, and that's fine.
Yeah, you're going to get you somebody's got to get you a Ravens jersey with Henry.
I would.
I know you would wear it. Don't lie to me. I know you would.
I would wear it. It would sting a little bit when I first put it on.
No, you just get past that initial awkwardness.
I would wear it when the Titans are at home during the playoffs, and the Ravens are still playing. That's when I'd wear it.
Well, they're at home during the playoffs. Like they're not in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, are they even going to make it? But then I realized what you're saying now. It made it sound like they had a home playoff
We
game.
don't know if they are or not.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes, we
Hold
do.
out some hope.
Optimistic, pessimistic, or
yes.
Hopeful, realist.
Well, we can't say realist until we get to the season. I need to see 5 games. 5 games. And then well, you don't necessarily know, but we're in the AFC South. Anything can happen.
That's right. Ooh, the AFC South. Yikes. Speaking of more exciting stuff, though, yesterday the Atlanta Braves got another victory, and hopefully everybody listened. I think at one point I said the Braves were plus 140. It might have jumped up to 160 at one point. If you live bet that, the Braves came back and won that game behind a 3-run blast to break the tie and win the game.
Eli White,
who grew up a Braves fan and now smashed the game-winning homer to cap a feel-good homestead for the Atlanta Braves up there. Got another game coming up tonight. That'll be, they are off tonight. They have a 3-game series starting this Friday with the Arizona Diamondbacks out there in Arizona. So they'll be playing at 8:40 on Friday, 7:10 on Saturday, as well as 3:10 on Sunday. Sorry, I had to subtract the hours. It took me a second to get it out there. All 3 of those games right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, as we are your home for the Atlanta Braves in the Florida Panhandle. All right, Brian. I was going to ask both of you. I got all the number 1 draft picks up on my computer right now. What era do you want to live in? Of all time. And I was going to ask you guys who you think the best number 1 pick is. Maybe we'll go...
Jay Burwanger.
Maybe we'll go decades. We'll go decades. David, fun fact, what was
I'd have to think.
the first ever position drafted number 1 in the history of the NFL draft?
I forget what Jay Burwanger played.
Oh, that's him, yeah.
Yeah, punter.
He was a halfback.
Yeah.
But the next 2 years, Sam Francis and Corbett Davis were both fullbacks drafted number 1.
There you go.
So obviously the game was a little bit different back then.
It's always kind of confused me why we call
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Well, like the halfback. The way that I think about it in my head, the halfback would be the one where the fullback would play, and then the fullback would be behind the halfback.
That's because that makes too much sense.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, those were in the days where an incomplete pass was a penalty, correct?
Really?
Oh, yeah, way back. That's why you didn't throw a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense why they didn't throw it so much.
I used to get so disgusted listening to the radio back in those days, man. I can't believe we threw an incomplete. Why are we even passing the ball?
Yeah, run the football, guys. Run the
cranking
football.
What was?
Yeah, you got to crank up. I don't know why I did that, but it felt like the right thing to do. In 1939, a center was drafted number 1 overall. That was Kai Aldrich from TCU, drafted by the Chicago Cardinals.
Correct.
I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff here in this first segment. All right, what decade do y'all want to do? You want to start in the 80s?
I'll know the 80s a little bit better than certainly the 70s. So, yeah.
David knew the 30s.
We can start with the 80s.
Yeah, it's just because that's a trivia question.
Oh, yeah. Who's the first?
Draft-wise, I would have definitely started paying attention in the 80s. So,
okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, 1980. The number 1 draft pick was a halfback from Oklahoma named Billy Sims.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Trophy winner, Pro Bowl in 80, 81, and 82. He's also the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1980. He played for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He was good.
I actually knew who this guy was because I've been to a lot of South Carolina games, and he has his up in the corner there in Williams-Brice Stadiums. George Roberts, halfback from South Carolina, the only player in South Carolina history to ever win the Heisman Trophy in 1980. He was selected the Pro Bowl in 81, 82. He was a Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 22, and he was also the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1981. He was drafted 1 overall by the New Orleans Saints. Who dat indeed. Next in 1982, defensive end was drafted out of Texas by the New England Patriots. He had no accolades really going into that. He was a defensive end named Kenneth Sims.
So I have a funny story about that draft. I believe it was 82. Could have been 81, but I think it was 82. I want to say the number 2 pick in that draft was a guy named Johnny Cooks. Played at Mississippi State, another big defensive lineman, great guy. He worked in the athletic department when I was there.
Wow.
And while I was there, they put out like a draft preview like we've gotten all week. And it was like worst pick of like the modern era for each team, and they had it listed. And of course, somebody in our office, it actually wasn't me, decided to post that all over Johnny Cook's office. He was not happy that day. He was actually a good player, but it just didn't work.
No, I don't know if I'd have the gusto to do something like that. 1983, David Hayes. Who do you think it is? I'll give you some context clues. Played for the Cardinal in college.
I know this one.
Yeah, I would just keep me out of this one. And just
all right, drafted by the Baltimore Colts. He was he won the NFL MVP in 87. He was a Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 33. He also was a Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 32 and 33.
Correct.
That's 77 and 70 I don't know. Those are just footnotes. He was a Pro Bowl member 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and he was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2004.
And
he didn't want to go where he first was being drafted, right?
He was also drafted by the New York Yankees.
Ah, yes.
John Elway.
That's correct. That is the draft that made the draft a TV event. Because of all the drama around the Colts selecting Elway. They did a 30 for 30 on it, which was fantastic. Yeah. But everything about that draft was, and it was a loaded draft. I mean, Marino went like in the 20s, I think, in that draft. It was unreal. There were like 6 quarterbacks. Eric Dickerson was in that draft. I mean, it was unreal.
The 80s had produced some good players, that's for sure. Next, 1984, I'll just do it a little quicker. Irving Fryer was a wide receiver out of Nebraska, drafted by the New England Patriots.
Correct.
He was a 5-time Pro Bowler. 1985, out of Virginia Tech, drafted by the Buffalo Bills. He's now currently in the Hall of Fame as well. He's a defensive end, and he hit hard.
I forgot he was at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith, indeed. Next, one of the better athletes to come out of this particular university. He was drafted number 1 overall in 1986. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1985 and won Pro Bowl in 1990, obviously before his career was shortened by that devastating hip injury. He drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, none other than Bo Jackson.
Vincent Edward Bo Jackson.
I met him one time during Masters Week, and I was a little disappointed. He was very not... He probably gets a lot of people to come up and talk to him, but all the other guys that were there were very gracious and took the time, talked to our cart guys. Bo Jackson was very, I'm going in, I'm going out.
Never played a game for the Bucs because he was convinced that Hugh Culverhouse, who was the owner, had flown him down to meet with them and had done it on purpose to get him declared ineligible for Auburn's baseball season, which he ended up doing. And Bo was convinced that Culverhouse did it on purpose, so Bo ended up going to play baseball to spite the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Man, that's a good little fun fact there, man. That's what happens. If you be spiteful, you get some spite back. 1987, drafted out of Miami, Florida by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did win the Heisman Trophy in 1986, 96, 98 Pro Bowl member, quarterback out of Miami.
Vinny
Testaverde.
Played for 8,000 years for about 8,000 teams in the NFL.
Yes, I feel like Joe Flacco is the modern day Vinny Testaverde. 1988 linebacker, also out of Auburn, drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. No accolades. Linebacker.
It's one of two guys. I think it's Tracy Rocker. It could be Andre Bruce.
Andre Bruce.
Is it? Yeah.
Andre
Darn
Bruce.
it. They both came out around the same time.
Well, and then the next one, a very famous announcer now. A lot of accolades. He was a quarterback at UCLA, drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. He was a Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP at one time. He's now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's been in the Pro Bowl, looks like 6 times. That is drafted out of UCLA. I was going to have David guess on this one, but I'll let you take it.
That'll be Troy Aikman, one of the first college transfers of any note. He actually started his career at Oklahoma, transferred to UCLA, sat out a year. And,
followed the rules, right?
He did.
Oh, goodness.
And got sacked a lot his first year in Dallas.
There's a lot of really good players in that 1980 decade. Who would you put? Let's go 1 and 2, because 1 is tough.
Of the number 1 overall picks, I'd probably go Elway. I think Elway's a better player than Aikman, even though Aikman has another ring.
Bo Jackson's career just wasn't long enough.
I wouldn't put Bo there just because of what his football career was. If you have to go 2, I'd probably go Bruce Smith.
Yeah, he was part of that run there for the Bills in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Where they just couldn't get over that Cowboys hump.
Yeah, those would probably be the 2 that certainly ended up the best.
All right,
but yeah, not too many busts there, honestly. There were a few that were questionable, but not a whole lot of busts. Now, there were some busts like at number 2 and number 3 for sure. But.
Yeah. We'll go through the 90s real quick, and we'll get to the point where David is live. So, 1990, quarterback out of Illinois, drafted by the Indianapolis Colts.
Jeff George. He graded out better than just about any quarterback in history. They loved everything about him. And he was just very average in the pros.
Yeah. I'm going to take you to a sports trivia. I feel like you'd do really well.
I have to know something.
Yeah. Sports is, you're like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to that.
Black hole of worthless knowledge. That's what I've been told.
Nah, I disagree.
No, this is not useless
there we go.
knowledge.
There we go.
All right, 1991, out of Miami, drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, part of those 3 Super Bowl championship teams. He was a defensive tackle.
Russell, Maryland.
I couldn't do like the last 5 years, let alone the 80s and the 90s.
He's a very good player.
Well, yeah, three-time Super Bowl champion. 1992, out of Washington University, drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, a defensive end.
Steve Empman.
And just to pronounce it correctly.
Here's what's great. The Colts had picks 1 and 2 that year, and at 2 they selected Quentin Coriat.
Gotcha.
So they went defense.
Nice. Hey, defense wins championships.
It just took them another 15 years.
yeah, a little bit of time. 1993, out of Washington State. That's a big clue right there.
Yep.
Drafted by the New England Patriots, a Pro Bowl member in 94, 96, 97, and 2002. Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 36, although he was not the starting quarterback. David Hayes, who do you got in this one?
Not.
Who got their...
Drew Bledsoe?
Yes.
That is correct.
See? I knew you'd get it. You were trying to Jamie there and shake me off.
That's correct.
Like Taylor Swift or whatever that song is. 1994, Ohio State, drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, defensive tackle.
I got to think on this one.
He really didn't have, he doesn't have any accolades in the
Was it Wilkinson?
Yes.
Big Daddy?
Yeah, Dan Wilkinson. Yeah, at Ohio State, defensive tackle. 1995, out of Penn State, a halfback, drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Kajana Carter.
Correct. Kajana Carter. I didn't know this was going to be you getting them all right segment, but I like this. This is a lot of fun.
How do I know these?
It's a great question. That's what I'm asking myself every time. I was like,
well, giving the college helps.
Yeah,
that does.
Of course,
help.
helps you, doesn't help me or anybody else listening. But 1996, drafted out of USC by the New York Jets, part of that Super Bowl champion team. He was a Pro Bowl in 98, 99, and 2001. Wide receiver.
Throw me the damn ball. Keyshawn Johnson.
Absolutely. Throw him the ball. Now he's telling everybody what to do there on the TV. Keyshawn Johnson, 1996. 1997, drafted by the St. Louis Rams. He's got tons of accolades, including a 7-time Pro Bowler, member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Super Bowl 34 champion, a draft out of the Ohio State University, offensive tackle.
That's Orlando Pace.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Big boy.
Big boy indeed. All right, David, I feel confident you've got this one. We haven't moved into really when, he was old enough to know what was going on. But drafted by the Indianapolis Colts in 1999 out of the University.
Peyton Manning.
There you go, Tennessee.
Yeah, we're starting to dive into the territory where I was like, oh, yeah. Because I've never really went back and studied who went where in drafts and stuff.
Oh yeah, and especially before your time.
And back then it wasn't a given that a quarterback would go 1. There were some that did, obviously, but it was like we just saw. We could see an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman go at 1. So.
Yeah, absolutely. 1999, out of the Cleveland Browns, or out of Kentucky, drafted by the Cleveland Browns, quarterback
Tim Couch.
Awesome.
He was a good player in college.
Yeah, didn't quite correlate as much there to the NFL. Back-to-back number 1 picks by the Cleveland Browns in the year 2000.
Now we're going to get tougher for me.
Yeah, out of Penn State, defensive end.
Oh, okay, Courtney Brown.
Courtney Brown is correct. Good stuff, Brian. That's impressive. That's really is. I'm not just
you
blowing
have to
smoke
know
up your
something.
butt. Yeah.
And I don't have it on my screen.
I know you
I'm
don't.
looking at baseball.
That's a Jay move.
Baseball standard. Yeah.
And Jay would still read it wrong, right?
yes. God bless you, Jay. Oh, goodness. But we got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined
How many more can I get?
That's a good question. We're moving into the 2000s now. We'll pick that back up at some point because I want to see if you can ride it all the way to modern day. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
I follow a lot of soccer and basketball on Instagram, and you have some of these NBA players that are like, whoa, man, the Europeans, they're working on fundamentals at a young age, where we're just going to tournaments and playing these games. They're really learning the game inside out before they start.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Thursday's weather forecast. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a high near 79 and a wind 8 to 12 miles per hour. A mixture of slight fog and some clouds tonight, a calm wind, and a temperature of 67. About the same tomorrow, around 80, with a mixture of slight fog and some sun. Slightly foggy in the morning, followed by mostly sunshine Saturday and hot around 81. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable buildings. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Master, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Talking all things NFL draft, Coach Haddad is a walking encyclopedia of first-round draft picks, and we appreciate that very much. But we're going to dive into a little more deep first 11, and the 11 specific to me because the San Francisco 49ers are picking at number 11. But going to dive into with our good friend Alan Sandage from up there in ESPN Richmond in the DMV area. Alan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing good. How's the fan base up there feeling about them Caps, man? They're on a special run this season, and everything Ovi's doing is pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Another victory last night for them.
Yeah, the Cap fandom is strong. Even when they were not, world champion level, they've kind of kept a consistent fan base, and I credit that to Ovi, man. He's just such a cool guy. He's a
man of the people.
Yeah, he really is. He's just so aloof, man. And then I just think as an organization, there's never been a question of whether or not they're trying to win. And in D.C., every other sport, you don't know what they're doing. So the Capitals represent stability, if anything.
Yeah, no doubt. And some of the stories coming out, I have a good friend that I grew up with. He's the lead ice technician for the Washington Capitals. So I'm having him on weekly now throughout the playoffs. He's always giving us a bunch of insight. But just the stories of him, stopping all his teammates from going in the locker room when the last time they played Marc-Andre Fleury in the regular season. It's that kind of stuff that just you don't hear about, but just makes him, not only an unbelievable hockey player, but a great ambassador for the game of hockey as well. But we're not here to talk hockey, Alan. We're here to talk the NFL draft, which is 7 hours, 36 minutes, and 36 seconds away from the start. 7 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. Obviously, if you're in the Eastern Time Zone, it is at 8 p.m. Alan, let's start. I think you done this once for us before, but let's start with your mock 11. That 11 is specific because the Niners are at 11.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when you said 11. I was like, 11? And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Niners are at 11.
We need a good one this year, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, I always let everybody know I don't do trades in my mocks. I just call it as it is. It's just too many scenarios.
Yeah.
But I have identified some spots where I think there will be trades based on reports and just some common sense things. But I think the Titans are set on Cam Ward at number 1 to nobody's surprise. And then after that, we will get a little bit dicey. We don't know what will happen.
Any chance in your mind Cam Ward doesn't go number 1?
Zero chance.
Zero
chance. Yeah. You got an offensive coordinator turned head coach. I think we've seen enough of Will Levis. I saw enough of Will Levis at Kentucky to say I would want him as my quarterback. But I would imagine that the current new coach wants his own guy to come in and somebody he can mold. And Cam Ward's pedigree, man. He's from FCS level, Incarnate Word. He went to Washington State, then he went to Miami. He succeeded at every step of the way. I don't think you would find a better resume as far as success, because the first thing people would say is, oh, he hasn't played anybody. Well, he did FCS. He moved up to Washington State. They said that was going to be a big jump. He dominated that. He went to Miami, and he played really well there and was in Heisman contention to some degree. So I think it's an enticing prospect if you're a quarterback coach.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, number 2, the Cleveland Browns select.
I would select Abdul Carter, but the Browns are going to do what the Browns do. It's between Carter and Travis Hunter, I think. I go with Abdul Carter because if your offense is going to stink, one thing you would want to depend on is a stout defense. The best way to make that defense stout is to give Myles Garrett a person that can be just as damaging as he is when he puts his hand into the ground. Carter and Myles Garrett would be a nightmare for every team in the NFL. They would ensure that Joe Burrow doesn't have but maybe 2 more good years left in him because the Bengals refuse to pay their offensive line. They would dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see. I think they need to make a big decision because that fan base is tired of them making crappy decisions. All right.
They're used to it at this point.
Yeah, I guess. Hopefully you don't get used to it. That sounds terrible. Anyway, so now number 3 with Abdul Carter going number 2.
All right, so I have the Giants marked down as a potential trade partner just because if Abdul Carter goes, there's some rumors that they would be willing to trade, I think it's Kayvon Thibodeau is how you say his name,
yeah.
Maybe it's Kayvon, but they'd be willing to trade him. They've got Burns from the Panthers last year. This is a deep draft for edge, so I feel like they're positioning themselves to potentially trade down. But like I said, in this scenario that I don't do trades. But I did mark that down as a potential first trade of the draft. But I would have them taking Travis Hunter. He would obviously mark the best available and fit a need. They need defense. They need offense. Who better than the best two-way player we've seen come out of college?
How much on both sides of the ball do you think he's really going to play in the NFL?
So I think if they're smart, I said this earlier on air, you let your playmakers make plays. Like, why would you take the ball out of his hands if he's one of your best playmakers? I said if you give me 100 snaps, I would do 70 defense, 30 offense. Like, I would keep that ratio. I think he's an elite, one-of-a-kind cornerback. His instincts are off the chart. He has good feet. What he lacks in speed isn't really that bad, and he also makes up the ground with his length. So I think he's just incredible ball skills on the defensive side, not afraid to tackle, not worried about his size. He'll be fine. On the offensive side, he's a playmaker. He's not elite in my mind, but he has some good qualities that would tell me as a coach, I got to get this guy on the field some kind of way. So 70-30 because I think he's going to be more beneficial on the defensive side.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah, build some packages out for him on offense and really see what he can do. All right, with the number 4 pick in the draft, the New England Patriots select?
I think the Patriots are going to go with Will Campbell from LSU or a tackle. I think they'll be smart and safe, emphasize protecting their quarterback, and then, again, taking advantage of the depth in the draft to plug in playmakers. I think tackle is going to be a lean position. There's maybe 3 that I would say have first-round grades in my mind. After that, or actually 4. I would give 4 first-round grades, and one of them is a fringe. But after that, it would be kind of a crapshoot, so they'd probably take care of that early.
Gotcha. Number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm going to give them Mason Graham. I think they're really bent on interior defensive line being a position that they take care of and shore up because they still have a pretty decent edge rusher in Allen, but nobody's there to take pressure to him on the defensive front, right? Like, they really need a guy in the middle that's a disruptor. Now, with them also having an offensively minded coach, would not be surprised if they went with the receiver from Arizona, Tatora McMillan. I think he has Mike Evans type frame. I think that would be enticing to their coach who just came over from the Buccaneers. They got Thomas last year from LSU, who kind of has that Godwin type ability. So I could see that being somewhat enticing if the coach has more say in going offense.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, number 6, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm gonna guess running back from you, Alan.
Man, I keep trying to give them logical picks, but it sounds like they want Ashton Jeanty. He does fit the Pete Carroll mold of like running back that he would like. He's a thumper, but he's also got the ability to catch out the backfield, and he's a playmaker. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking Ashton Jeanty at this spot other than he's a running back. And the only reason why I criticize that is because the Raiders are more than a running back away from being good. When the Cowboys did it with Ezekiel Elliott, they had already made up in their minds that they were going to try to get like a Dak Prescott, but they wasn't too concerned, and they really were just a decent run game away, because at that time I think they still had Tony Romo, or maybe, Tony Romo was still there, I believe.
Yep.
So it wasn't that big of an issue. Like, the Raiders have Geno, but I feel like they should definitely look at helping out their defensive side of the ball, or even getting Geno a primary wide receiver one before they go talk about running back.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Makes sense. Number 7, the New York Jets.
Number 7, right out of Mechanicsville, about 10 minutes from my house, Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. I think he's going to be their pick. Hopefully, better luck with Warren than they had with Brady, which for some reason hit my algorithm when they picked him over Warren Sapp some years ago. I don't think there'll be a scenario like that. Tyler Warren's a stud, man, and I'm not saying that because he's local. Like, he really is like an all-in-one tight end.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably, obviously, arguably the best tight end in the draft. A lot of good tight ends in this draft, too, as well. All right, number 8, the Carolina Panthers.
Number 8, the Panthers have openly talked about trading their pick, have been actively shopping it. I have a friend who's an insider down there, and she's really good at what she does. She also thinks they might trade their pick, and I would say if they don't, they would prioritize an edge rusher. I think the Panthers are looking for production, so they would go Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall. He led the nation in sacks at 17. He is a stud. I don't know if I sent you guys the clip or not, but he is the gentleman from the Senior Bowl. They just obliterated Conley, who's, on some people's board, a top-rated tackle prospect, but he's a monster. And he has a little bit of an off-field issue, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but there's some accusations out there that will probably need to be vetted. There hasn't been any criminal charges filed, and reportedly that's why he left UVA. I should know more about that considering UVA is down the street, but I don't. So, and this kid's from Williamsburg, which is also 20 minutes from my house. But, yeah, I would say I don't think a lot of people are too concerned with that because I still see him as a top 15 on most boards.
Awesome. Number 9, the New Orleans Saints. A lot of New Orleans Saints fans here in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, and they're probably not going to like my pick. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what you guys are going to do, man. I mean, I think there's a chance that since people are so off on Shedeur that they trade out of this spot and still pick up Shedeur later in the first round. I did mark them as a potential trade candidate just because they don't seem to be eager to draft Shedeur at number 9 or take Dart or Shuck. So I went best available for their needs. I had their needs as QB, edge, offensive line, and cornerback. So I'm going to give them Will Johnson from Michigan, who is a solid cornerback, and not even solid. He's a stud. He played in Wink Martindale's defense, which if you're not familiar with Wink Martindale, he is Mr. Kitchen Sink himself. He will send 10 people and leave 1 in coverage. So if you're a corner and you're successful in his defense, then you're doing something, right? I saw people docking him for his man-to-man coverage skills, but I was like, I didn't see any of that last year. In fact, if you go back and look at his tape, I think his Ohio State game was the best game, and Ohio State had some studs at wide receiver. He was by himself a lot. So if they drafted him at 9, I wouldn't overreact, but I still think they could probably trade down a couple spots, add more draft capital, and still get a Will Johnson.
One of the bigger questions with the number 10 pick in the NFL draft, what are the Chicago Bears going to do?
If the Bears do anything but tackle, I'm going to fight Ryan Poles. Like, seriously, man. You guys know I was a big Caleb Williams fan. I'm not giving up on the kid, but when you get sacked like 70 times, like, you need some help, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to make it. No quarterback getting hit that much will ever make it, and the fact you got hit that much your rookie season doesn't quite bode well in the next year. But as I said this morning, everybody's talking about Ben Johnson wanting a running back and all these offensive weapons. People forget the meat of the Detroit Lions' success was when they got Penei Sewell and their offensive line shored up. They got the playmakers after that, right? They didn't take a leap on Gibbs until after they had gotten Sewell. So I think he'll use this same concept. I've got them taking Armand Mimbo, I think is how you say his name. He's the big tackle from Missouri. One of my favorite tackles. I like Maulers. I think their issue was right tackle. He literally fits the prototypical right tackle. Super athletic. He's 330 pounds and ran a 4.9. People would say,
terrifying.
oh, that doesn't matter. Listen, you get a guy that size, second level, God help you, right?
Yeah,
Like nobody's
you're getting
away
run
from him.
over, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's definitely a skill set. Because, again, you look at Penei Sewell, you look at how he plays and how he gets after guys, and when he gets second level, how he just destroys people. Like, my term for it is deleting them. Like, you watch film, they're gone because they're just getting bodied by the big tackle. I think he would be perfect for them, and then the draft is deep. Again, with playmakers, they can go back and get their offensive guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, number 11, the San Francisco
number 11.
49ers.
Number 11, because I used my guy Mason Graham at number 5, I had to double check just to make sure, because I have mocks where I just pray to get Mason Graham, but I don't think he'll be there. So I went, again, the idea of production, and I have an offensive defensive pick. So my defensive pick was Donovan Ezeraku from Boston College. My folks here locally will know when I talk about him, about the Washington Commanders, I kept talking about how he was a little too small, but he's really productive. And a lot of my draft class and mocks this year have been based on guys being productive, coming out of college, not needing to be coached how to do things, per se, from a production standpoint. He gets after the quarterback. That's one thing he will always do. And we need another pressure guy. We lost a lot on our
defensive line minus Bosa.
Yeah, a lot, right? And we can't just lean on Bosa, who's essentially seeing triple teams at this point.
Yep.
So we need another guy. On the offensive side of the ball, I got us taking the tackle from Texas.
Yeah.
If anything, I like the tackle from Texas. I like the tackle from Ohio State as well. They're not the meanest guys. Like Mimbo and Will Campbell are kind of mean. One of the funny things is when you look at the tackles and you look at the defensive line, everybody's talking about their arm length. It seems like a wash. For every tackle that's got short arms, it seems like the defensive ends have short arms and things like that. So I wouldn't let that factor into your decision.
Gotcha. Well, that's Alan Sandage's mock 11 draft. Good stuff, Alan. We appreciate it. We appreciate you breaking it down on the reasons why as well. I had several more questions for you, but I'll just leave it at maybe one or two. What teams cannot afford to miss in this year's draft?
Let's see. Cannot afford to miss. For some reason, I had said this before, and then I'm drawing a blank. Let's say the Commanders, I think, can't afford to miss. And I'm not saying that because they're local. It's just your window for success is so delicate. And they've got a patchwork team to some extent. They got Jaden Daniels, but a lot of their contributors are aging veterans on one-year contracts. They're going to need to make sure they still get, like, their top 2 picks right, because they need a younger foundation to come through in the coming years. And then I would say the Bears. Especially if we're talking offensive line, because Caleb Williams is taking some knocks, man. He's taking some knocks. And then anybody that's trading up for a quarterback, because I don't think this QB class is strong. So if you trade up, you're going to have a lot of questions to answer for if your quarterback isn't worth the price.
Absolutely. All right, last question now, and then we'll let you go. I also think the Niners really can't miss in this draft as well, too, but that's more personal than anything.
Yeah, I was trying to stay away from that.
I hear you. Hopefully they do have a good draft. What are some good mid, third, fourth round steals that you may have out there that people can kind of be aware of as they're watching the draft?
Pretty much any running back, I think. I think you're looking at a lot of talent in that running back class in those mid rounds. Bayshul Tootin, I think I talked to him.
Yeah, you did.
With you guys before. Yeah,
Out of
he'll
Virginia
be on
Tech,
there.
right?
Like Trevor Etienne, Brashard Smith, Jarquez Hunter, R.J. Harvey. Like those guys, I think will be really good picks in the mid rounds. Your tight ends, I think they've got a deeper class than people would like to admit, because on the athletic side, they don't have the blazing 4.4 speeds or 4.3s or give you the Kyle Pitts vibes, but they're all sound blockers and they're all consistent playmakers. And then for my quarterback, I still say Quinn Ewers going in the middle rounds, I believe will make some people happy. I think he's got the most NFL ready mentality. It's just, the occasional turnover, but he makes some really pretty throws. And I'm not sure why he's getting docked so much, considering that in a lot of his big games, he's come through.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're docking him. And then Kenneth Grant from Michigan, Darius Alexander, 2 interior defensive linemen as well that I think will be beneficial in the mid-round.
Awesome. Well, Alan, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on all the knowledge and success you're having up there, and looking forward to seeing how the draft shakes out tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime soon.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. That's Alan Sandage. He's a sports director up there at ESPN Richmond Radio. He's very keened in. If we got any Commanders fans down here, when Alan's on, you got to ask those questions. We'll be right back talking a little NBA, NHL, and then getting back into our number 1 draft pick contest. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. The other thing that makes you wonder about the Lakers are a bad road team. They were sub 500 on the road, and they just lost home court advantage. Minnesota, like those Ravens, they can win on the road. I'm not worried about the Lakers, but J.J. Redick, welcome to playoff basketball.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a 5th-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design-build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
Known for its crispy chicken tenders, flavorful wings, and generous portions, Lickin' Chicken has become a local favorite. Lickin' Chicken's commitment to quality and bold flavors keeps customers coming back for more. One satisfied patron shared on Facebook.
First time at Lickin' Chicken, and I'll return often. Man, them lemon pepper and garlic parm wings were amazing. My daughter and I devoured them. They don't short you on the fries either.
Lickin' Chicken, 1320 North Tyndall Parkway.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Lots of NHL and NBA playoff action went down last night. We'll start on the NHL side of things. Caps extend their series lead to 2-0 after a 3-1 victory over the Canadiens. If you watch that game, pretty good game. First period, no scoring. Second period, I believe the Canadiens got on the board first, followed by 2 Capitals goals, and Caps added an empty netter there at the end to cover the 1.5-point spread and extend their series lead to 2-0, and they'll be heading up to Montreal for the next 2 games before they come back to Washington, if they even have to come back to Washington. If it's a gentleman's sweep, they will. I learned that term yesterday from David. That's when you win 4-1, right? Yeah, there you go. Dallas Stars in a close matchup. Overtime is what it took, and Tyler Seguin was actually able to net the empty netter. I was watching that one, and I was watching the one forward, and I could hear my high school hockey coaches yelling, back check, and Sengun he wasn't wide open, but if the offensive player did his job and tied him up like he was supposed to, he never would have had an open shot. And the Avalanche probably would have been leading the series, or would have not been down in the series 2-1. But that was out there in Denver. The Stars steal that one in overtime and now have a 2-1 series lead, the only series that's played 3 games so far in the NHL. Then you had the Oilers and the Kings, and it was a goal-scoring fest. You wanted the over in that one. The first period was not. The second period, it was 3-1 after 2, and then I believe the Kings extended it to 5-1 at point in the third period. The Oilers got it to I believe 4-3 at one point. It got real close, and then that next goal made a big difference, and the Kings just kept pouring it on in the third period with 3 goals, winning that one 6-2, taking a strong 2-0 series lead, heading up to Alberta. Over there on the NBA side of things, we had a few games going on. It's just fun with all these playoff games going on simultaneously. Let me pull up what I was just looking at. Let's see. Last night, we had the Magic and the Celtics. By the way, if you want to go to the Orlando Magic Game 4 playoff game against the Boston Celtics, just head over to our Facebook page, find the post, comment your name, and you'll be randomly selected, potentially, to win those tickets to a mere quick trip over there, Orlando. Playoff basketball, it's not an opportunity you get to see very often. Then you also had the Celtics ended up not covering, which was fine because my other part of the leg fell through anyway. Boston Celtics won that one 109-100. Kristaps Porzingis took an elbow to the forehead and bled everywhere, and then came back later in the game. The home crowd really got excited about that. Boston now leads that series 2-0. Game 3 will be back down here in Orlando coming up in a couple days. And then Game 4 as well. We're giving away a pair of tickets to that if you want to try to check that out. The Heat and the Cavaliers, the over was smashed in that one. Final score in that one was 121-112. Cavs kind of stayed up in most of that game, but the Heat got a little bit close there. I believe it was late in the third quarter. It was within a few points. Actually, it might have been the fourth quarter. About halfway through was within a few points, but then the Cavs kind of pulled away behind a fantastic three-point shooting game. They had 22 made three-pointers in that game in total. They made 11 three-pointers in the second quarter alone. That is an NBA playoff record. So the Mitchells, they had Mitchell on both sides, both wear the same number too. It's pretty cool. And then last but not least, the Warriors fall to the Houston Rockets 109-94. But the big story coming out of that game, that series is now tied 1-1, heading back to Oracle Arena. But the big story out of that series is what's going to happen to playoff Jimmy. He went up, kind of got undercut, and fell from way up high, just directly on his hips. And I could feel the pain in that one. And he left the game, and he was out for the rest of the game with a pelvic contusion. Supposed to get an MRI today before they decide anything on his availability or not. But I think playoff Jimmy's got to be there for the Warriors to have an opportunity to win that series. But we'll talk about the games coming up tonight in our final segment today. I do want to get back to the number 1 draft pick because that was I had so much fun doing that. So we're going to pick it up. You got Courtney Brown right. Brown was the second of back-to-back number 1 picks for the Cleveland Browns in 1999.
Yeah, they've had the 1 pick a lot.
It's kind of their thing. The Atlanta Falcons. David, if you know, let me know. The Atlanta Falcons out of Virginia Tech.
Mike Vick.
There you go. Pro Bowl in 2002, 4, 5, and Pro Bowl in 2010. Obviously bursted onto the scenes, had that unbelievable rush in the one game. I think it was a 46 or 49-yard rushing touchdown, which was really kind of welcome to the league. Michael Vick, but this guy was just so fast and had a monster arm, could throw the ball 80 yards down the field, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Obviously had some trouble off the field as well, but then came back with the Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm not mistaken, and then played pretty well the rest of his career. In 2002, the Houston Texans selected out of Fresno State.
Correct.
David Carr. David Hayes has entered the chat. Super Bowl champion in, what's that?
Who?
David Carr?
Yeah. He was the sack champion.
Well, he must have been a backup to a team.
Okay.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't start.
XLVI would be 46.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so Super Bowl 46, he was a champion. He got himself a ring.
That is so wild that he gets that accolade.
Super Bowl. I got to see who won 46. Why am I typing?
Well, odds would say it's the Patriots.
Yeah,
and it was.
Yep.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I never knew that. Wait, no. It was the Patriots and the Giants. So,
so he's back up to Eli.
Nice. Tom Coughlin owns Bill Belichick.
Yep. Oh, goodness.
That was the wildest thing that I've heard today. David Carr, Super Bowl champion.
Hey, it's got it here.
It is.
It's a fact.
I mean, it's a fact.
Even if you're the equipment manager, you get that ring, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he deserves it. As many hits as he took.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Where did he finish his career playing?
I don't know.
Me neither. Let's see. I guess I could click on his name and it would tell me.
You could say his career was finished in Houston, but
that, my friend, is a very good point, Brian. All right, so it looks like he played for the Texans from 2002 to 2006, then did 1 year with the Panthers, 2 years with the Giants.
Right. He was on
the
Niners in 2006.
He was with the Niners and then finished up with the Giants.
Yeah, so he was done after that.
Right now, he's the OC at Bakersfield Christian High School in California.
Well, there you go.
Him doing good. He was also the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm winner in 2001.
And he was the completion percentage leader
He was very
in the
good in
NFL
college.
2006. That's
wow.
Well, remember, they were expansion.
Yeah.
So it took a little while. But, yeah, they got better by the end of the 2000s. But, yeah, he took a lot of hits.
2003, Heisman Trophy winner in 2002, named to the 2005, 6, and 15 Pro Bowl. Ended his career, I believe, as an Arizona Cardinal. He was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals out of the University of Southern California.
Carson Palmer.
Yes.
Correct.
I was struggling with that one. Yeah.
Yep. I had a Matt Leinart jersey. Never mind. Yeah. 2004, a famous one out of the was supposed to be drafted by the San Diego Chargers out of Ole Miss. Pro Bowl 08, 11, 12,
Peyton Manning.
15.
Elmo Manning.
Super Bowl champion.
Started to David Carr.
Super Bowl MVP in both years. He was the MVP in both of them. Yeah, he helped David Carr helped him.
Yeah,
so there you go. That is Eli Manning.
Another very good draft, top to bottom.
Yep.
04 was loaded.
Absolutely. In 2005, by the San Francisco 49ers out of the
Alex Smith.
Utah Utes. That is correct. He was a Pro Bowler in 13, 16, and 17. And then obviously had that gruesome leg injury that almost took his life and his leg. But then came back and played and helped Patrick Mahomes get kind of where I guess he is today. So is that ice cream?
No, it's sweet. It's terrible. It's sweet and sour chicken fried rice.
Oh, I thought it was ice cream. I was like, wow, interesting.
But I'm hungry.
All right. 2006 out of NC State, drafted by the Houston Texans. He was a Pro Bowler in 08, 09,
This
13,
was
and 14.
controversial.
Indeed it was. Defensive end?
Mario Williams.
Williams is correct.
Controversial. Could not believe they didn't take the hometown or Texas boy Vince Young.
Yep.
He ended up going to Tennessee where Jeff Fisher didn't want him, and the whole franchise fell apart.
I hate that too for Vince, man.
He was a good player. He played good in Tennessee.
He did, man. I mean, one of the most memorable ones for me was that the comeback that he had against the Giants. We were down close to 3 full scores, and he brought us back, roaring back. I was in church on my PSP watching it.
That was the situation that turned me on Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
Because I was very much a Jeff Fisher supporter. I thought he did it to stick his chest out at Bud Adams, that he never wanted him, instead of working with the kid, and I hated it. So.
Didn't get the justice he deserved. 2007. This is an easy one. No accolades for this man, and he was drafted by the Oakland Raiders out of LSU.
Mr. Watch Jamarcus Russell.
That's my hometown boy, Jamarcus Russell from Mobile, Alabama.
That's Brian That's homeboy.
Apparently, they don't watch a lot of film there in Mobile, Alabama.
Well, they watch a lot of film of eating, apparently.
Still one of the craziest things, in the last 20 years.
He was talented.
Yeah, he was athletic. Physically gifted. He was huge. He had a big arm, and he was tough to bring down. And, it's just a shame because you see so many other people with the flip side of that trying to work as hard as they possibly can.
Ate himself out of the league.
And he just, if you got to put in the work, too. Talent can only get you so far.
Right.
And Jamarcus Russell is a very good example of that. Rounding out the 2000s, Miami Dolphins drafted out of the University of Michigan in 2008. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler tackle.
It's one of the longs.
Tis.
Is it Chris or Jake?
Jake.
Okay.
That's how I feel when we're talking
Chris
about the
was
pulse.
defensive, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think he was drafted by the Eagles, if I'm not
and one
mistaken.
of them's Howie's kid. I just can't remember which is which.
Is he still in the league, Jake?
I don't think so.
I don't think so anymore.
Because the next number 1 overall draft pick, still playing in the league as we speak, out of the University of Georgia, drafted by the Detroit Lions, Pro Bowl in 14 and 23, and also Super Bowl 56 champion, none other than Georgia alum
Matthew Stafford,
who is still playing today.
If Aaron Rodgers doesn't pick up, he'll be one of the longest tenured play. I don't think he's number 1. Rodgers is if he plays.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I can't remember. There might be somebody else from like 07, 08, but yeah, Stafford's up there.
I was going to say, yeah. I know we'll take a break. We'll maybe die. We only got one more decade. Well, 2 decades technically to do, but we're only 4 years into this, soon to be 5.
Which is
7 hours and 4 minutes. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. 10 divided by 2 is 5.
Yeah.
Last time I checked anyway. But yeah, it could change. It could. You never know.
You got to do that Common Core math.
That's it. And mix it up on you, and then you have no idea what's going on. But we got to take a quick break. When we get back, top of the hour, do our afternoon delight debrief, and maybe finish up the 2010s and the early 2020s. You're listening to the Inside Drive. Coach Haddad, DJ Crockett, DJ Davy Crockett. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Expired is up next. Tennessee fans, what is wrong with you? You are wishing this guy well. Oh, he's just a kid. He took you to the altar, got you knocked up, and left you at the freaking altar with twins.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Thursday's weather forecast. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a high near 79 and a wind 8 to 12 miles per hour. A mixture of slight fog and some clouds tonight, a calm wind, and a temperature of 67. About the same tomorrow, around 80, with a mixture of slight fog and some sun. Slightly foggy in the morning, followed by mostly sunshine Saturday and hot around 81. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Do you want to eat like a local? The Local 115 is now open. Local drinks, local sports, and local food. Delicious oysters, crab cakes, steamed seafood, gumbos, salads, paninis, wings, wine, and cold beer. Nothing fried. That's right. No fried foods at Local 115. Amazing local food with an exciting local sports and mural theme. Eat like a local at the Local 115. 115 Harrison Avenue, downtown Panama City.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the 3 degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can watch live every day or after the fact, not on the weekends, as there's lots of sports going on the weekends. But we appreciate you tuning in. You can subscribe, like, comment, share, follow, all those wonderful things. I don't know what you do on Twitch, but if you're a Twitcher, then just follow us on for ESPN Northwest Florida. Of course, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do is search up 104.3. Right now, there's a contest on there. You open up your app, you hit the Enter Contest button, give you a chance to win a trio of ESPN and sponsor merchandise, a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida t-shirt, a Golf Plus t-shirt, and then an Inside Drive t-shirt as well. All you got to do is download our free mobile app, enter the contest, and you've got yourself a chance to win. There's also an opportunity to win right now on our Facebook page. You can scroll down to the post right before the Afternoon Underdog show yesterday. You'll see a contest if you want to go to the Orlando Magic Boston Celtic Game 4 game over there in Orlando at the Amlays. No, Amlays where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. What's the name? The Kia Center. The Kia Center for the Orlando Magic, if I'm not mistaken. All you got to do is comment. That's it. And then we'll randomly pick a person out of everybody who comments. Only 8 comments thus far. So right now your percentage chance is looking pretty good. You know, basketball playoffs could be intense and fun. And obviously their season could potentially be on the line in that game, or they're trying to keep things going. So you could be a part of that as well. Also want to give a shout out to our studio sponsor, Golf Plus. 2 great locations. One's been around for over 30 years, coming up on 40 years, up there off of Montgomery Highway in Dothan, serving the great community up there for a long, long time. And of course, he's had the store down here in Panama City Beach for a few, probably 3 or 4 years now at this point. Just right there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza. They got repair, retail, club fitting, all that good stuff. As we talked about with him earlier this week, get your grips changed. If you play a decent amount of golf, if you play, once every couple of years, your grips will probably fall off anyway. But, if you play fairly often, that's your only connection to the golf club. So go check out Golf Plus and get your clubs re-gripped. All right, we're going to talk a few Afternoon Delight debriefs, depending on how long they take. Then we'll jump right back into the number 1 draft picks. All right, this one's coming out of the beautiful area down there, David's former stomping grounds, Tampa area in Florida. Everybody's probably heard this story, but it's time to bring it to the Afternoon Delight debrief. Florida woman poses as ICE agent to kidnap wife of ex-boyfriend from work, authorities say. A Florida woman posed as a U.S. Immigration and Customs agent and briefly kidnapped her ex-boyfriend's wife from her job, authorities say. Wearing a black T-shirt with ICE printed on the front, that's what they wear. LaTrance Battle, 52, went into the woman's workplace at a hotel chain. Oh, this was here in Bay County.
Yeah, baby.
It's just being reported.
There we go. I was like, this happened here.
Well,
but...
both of mine are from here then.
Yeah.
Well, it's being reported by the Fox News.
We are entering the Florida man / Florida woman sweepstakes.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, I think we're near the top as well.
I was about to say we've been doing our thing. Woohoo!
All right. So anyway, right here in our backyard, I'll pick it up with the printed on the front. LaTrance Battle, she's 52, went to a woman's workplace at a hotel chain on April 10th wearing a black shirt with ICE printed on the front, according to the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Battle, who had a handheld radio with her, flashed a Sheriff's Office business card, that's also very common practice, and told the woman she had to leave with her, the Bay County Sheriff's Office says. Fox News Digital has reached out to the Sheriff's Office. Due to being in fear, the victim got in a vehicle and went willingly with LaTrance, a Sheriff's Office statement said. The victim confirmed that she genuinely felt as if Lawrence was an ICE agent at the time, and she is in the process of becoming a legal United States resident. As Battle drove, she spoke into her handheld radio, which furthered the victim's belief that she was being taken by an ICE agent. The kidnapped woman told authorities, the kidnapped woman told authorities, according to the Miami Herald. During the ride, the woman tried calling her husband and a lawyer before Battle forcefully snatched the phone from her hand, deputies wrote. The woman became suspicious when they arrived at the Bridge Plaza apartment complex, where Battle said additional ICE agents would be present, the newspaper reported. The victim suspected something was wrong because LaTrance told the victim they were going to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office said as LaTrance went inside the apartment, the victim fled and called law enforcement.
Well, that and the patrol car was a Ford Pinto.
Yes. The woman told deputies that she had hid behind a neighbor's car. When Battle came out of her apartment, she saw the neighbor and asked him if he had seen a woman running. The neighbor told deputies. Battle told the neighbor she took the woman's phone because she knows what she did, investigators said. The neighbor let the kidnapped woman into his apartment until law enforcement arrived, where she called her husband and described the fake ICE agent, authorities said. The husband said the description sounded like his ex-girlfriend who had shown up at his work before 2 years earlier and attacked him, prompting him to file a restraining order against him, according to the Miami Herald. Battle was arrested on her way to Alabama and charged with kidnapping in commission of a felony, robbery by sudden snatching, impersonating a law enforcement officer in the commission of a felony, and felony violation of probation. Not a lot you can say after
Florida
that.
woman.
Yep. It's not just the man. It's not just the men, guys.
That's right.
Also
it's hot down here.
Ooh, it's getting hotter, too. Speaking of our area and crazy stuff going on, this lends more onto the Florida man side of things.
Let's go Bay County.
This is recent. I think this is from yesterday. Yeah, from yesterday. This is from our very own WJHG.com. Title of this particular article, Man Steals Excavator and Attempts ATM Theft Next to Police Department.
Genius.
Definiak Springs. A man has been arrested in Walton County after reportedly stealing an excavator and attempting to steal an ATM next to the Definiak Springs Police Department. Police said there's so many things with this one. Police said an officer saw a person operating the excavator in an attempt to take the ATM from the Regions Bank. When the officer attempted to make contact with the man, he fled the scene. Law enforcement says that during their investigation, they identified the 43-year-old as Christopher Hughes. During an interview with the police department, Hughes reportedly admitted to stealing the excavator and attempted to steal the ATM. Police said he told him his reason was, I'd rather rob a bank than work for my brother. Hughes was arrested and charged with grand theft of construction equipment, criminal mischief over $1,000, and burglary of a structure with property damage. Another good one there. That's why you always lock and tag out your equipment.
I just love the fact that it was right next to the police station. That's just genius.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's two right off.
Now, the stealing the excavator to get an ATM machine, okay, I get that. All right. That actually might be genius.
Little ingenuity there.
Yeah.
I had to think, how am I going to get this thing? I guess it probably had a claw and he's going to try to rip it out.
Yeah.
It did have a claw. There's a picture of it. Yeah, interesting. All right, I want to jump back into, where did we leave off? We left off with Matt Stafford?
09.
Okay, so that brings us to 2010. Heisman Trophy winner in 2008. Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2010. Drafted by the St. Louis Rams out of the University of Oklahoma and could never stay healthy in the NFL.
Sam Bradford. King of the 6-yard dump.
Yeah, and a lot of shoulder injuries, right? Guy just couldn't stay upright, and a lot of times it happens. 2011, Heisman Trophy winner in 2010, Pro Bowl 11, 13, and 15, as well as Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2011, in addition to the 2015 NFL MVP, drafted by the Carolina Panthers out of the University of Auburn.
Scam Newton.
I was going to say Cam Newton because I knew you were going to say that. Oh, man. All right. Another gentleman that is no longer currently in the NFL. In 2012, he's a Pro Bowl in 12, 13, 14, and 18. Drafted by the Indianapolis Colts out of the University of Stanford.
Andrew Luck.
Recent GM over there at the University of Stanford. Indeed, Andrew Luck, who was running some handoffs yesterday. I think I saw in some pictures out there.
I mean, in reality, he should still be playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his choice, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, he's certainly young enough and he was capable enough. And, golly, it seemed like the Colts were kind of right there.
Yeah.
About ready to do something. But, I mean, you can't fault a guy for prioritizing their health, especially at that point, everything with the concussions was really hitting.
Yep, that's when it really started to pick up some steam. Kansas City Chiefs drafted this tackle out of the University of Central Michigan. He's a Pro Bowler in 18 and 20, and he did win the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 54. Drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs out of Central Michigan, tackle.
Oh, I may not know this one.
Ooh! You did say the modern ones, you'd be a little tougher for you.
Offensive tackle?
Offensive tackle.
Oh, God, who would that be?
has the same last name as the coach you used to like, but then were very disappointed in, as you mentioned earlier.
Fisher?
Yeah. Eric Fisher.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that one. I would not have gotten that one.
I don't even remember Eric Fisher, to be honest with you. But obviously he won that first Super Bowl there with the Chiefs. Yeah. That would have been 2020, I believe. Anyway, 2014, he made the Pro Bowl in 16, 17, and 18. He drafted by the Houston Texans out of the University of South Carolina. It's been a journeyman the last few years. Defensive end.
Oh, it's I can see the hit.
Yeah, on Michigan.
I think he was the first guy to be the #1 high school recruit and be the #1 overall pick, and now I'm blanking on his name. Oh my God, it's going to drive me crazy.
David Hayes, University of South Carolina, #1 pick in 2014.
I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. I can see him.
It's too easy, that's why. You're used to the hard ones. He played for the Houston Texans, had that big...
Clowney.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep. I kept, for some reason, I kept seeing Javon Curse in my head.
The freak.
The freak, indeed.
That was the first thing that I ever talked about when I got the opportunity to get on the air.
Mike Keith, his call when he was freak time.
Yes, sir.
Great.
He's not even the announcer anymore.
Is he not?
We've got a new
one.
Pooh. 2015, everybody locally here along the Panhandle should know this one. He made the Pro Bowl in 17, 18, 22, and 24. Drafted by the drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out of Florida State University.
Crab leg.
Yeah.
Crab leg. Still
famous Jameis
Winston.
And he's
got the best completion percentage in the NFL. It's just to both teams.
Yeah.
That year, though, he threw for a ton of touchdowns and yards, too. So as long as you can handle the interception.
He's still capable.
Oh, yeah. And he's
on the Giants.
He went from the Bucks to the Saints to the Giants.
To the Browns.
That was right, to the Browns to the Giants. I thought there was 4. Yep. That was 2015. 2016, he made the Pro Bowl in 17, 18, 22, and 24. He left before they won a Super Bowl. They had to switch quarterbacks to make that happen. Los Angeles Rams drafted this quarterback out of the University of California.
Jared Goff.
Goff. Still slinging it up there now with the Detroit Lions, but obviously missed out on this. Not missed out. They had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. They couldn't get it done, and then Matt Stafford comes in and gets it done. 2017. Still playing an extremely high level. Pro Bowl 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Drafted out of the University of Texas A&M by the Cleveland Browns in 2017. Defensive end.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. How do you spell Myles?
Myles.
Dang, you guys are just too good. I can't stump you. Can't stump you.
The next two are Oklahoma products.
Correct. Also, the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns probably holds the record for the most #1 overall picks in the history of the NFL. Heisman Trophy winner in 17, 23, 24 Pro Bowl. Cleveland Browns drafted this quarterback out of the University of Oklahoma.
He's not a chef, but a baker. Oh, Johnny.
No. I was just doing that because Money.
I
was like Money Mayfield. He does it too. Money Manziel.
Yeah.
Baker did do that too. Yeah.
And then the only person I think in history to be drafted in the first round in both the Major League Baseball draft and the NFL draft.
Wow.
Top 7. He was 7th in baseball. The Oakland A's took him.
You're talking about the next year's draft,
That's
right?
Correct.
Yeah, Kyler. Yeah.
That's correct. Kyler Murray.
Well, we're already there. Arizona Cardinals selected in 2000.
Folks. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't.
Right.
It really wasn't. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 19 as well, followed that Heisman Trophy winning season. That's quarterback Kyler Murray. Still playing with those Arizona Cardinals now, 5 years later. 2020, I mean, if we don't get all these now, obviously we will. I say that. Heisman Trophy winner in 19, Pro Bowl in 22 and 24, 1 Super Bowl appearance. Just can't seem to get back over the hump. He's getting beat up too much. Drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals out of LSU. Quarterback
Joe Burrow.
Jamarcus.
Sitting on his couch at home. The COVID draft.
What a bummer.
Yep.
But I think he's doing okay. That money made up for it.
I mean, he's got a daggone Batmobile on the way, so I'd say he's doing all right.
I guess that's one of those things. I guess you're a kid and you ever make it big. You're like, you know what I'm going to do?
As long as his house doesn't get robbed again.
Yeah, there you go.
Poor guy. It seems to be a common theme in the recent years. 2022, Jacksonville Jaguars select defensive end out of the University of Georgia.
Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, Trayvon Walker.
Walker.
They should have taken Hutch. But the Lions thanked them.
Yeah, no
Because
doubt.
Hutch got to stay home. Hutch thanked them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed. 2023, 2021 Heisman Trophy winner, drafted by the Carolina Panthers out of the University of Alabama, quarterback.
Little guy young.
Little guy young.
Hey, our media guide had him at like 6'1", 220 or
Yeah,
something.
it's like, did you see him around
He's like, what, 5'9",
reporters
5'10"?
and he's shorter
5'9",
than him?
180.
That's how, you're just taking some, what do you call it? When you're a writer, you can do whatever you
Creative
want.
license.
Yes. That's all they did. They just took a little bit of that.
100%.
And then last year, I'm not even going to go through it, Heisman Trophy winner in 2022. It's funny, both guys went one more year after their Heisman Trophy and then got drafted by the Chicago Bears out of the University of Southern California. Quarterback Caleb Williams. Hope he gets some offensive protection this
I mean, they've already done a little bit.
Yeah, they
prior
have.
to
Yeah,
the draft,
they
so,
pulled
yeah.
some guys over. Yeah, no, I think those Bears are on the up and up, and I'm sure the Bears fans are cautiously optimistic. All right, I'm gonna see if I can find us another odd news story.
Yeah.
Animals, crime, culture, curiosity, entertainment, environment, food and drink, health, science and tech, sports, or world record.
I always love animal crime.
PETA's going to be calling us. All right, I'll just live in the crime world. It actually has to do with an animal.
Hey, perfecto.
I hope it's the one I'm looking at.
Miniature horse?
Nope.
Okay, miniature horse busted on St. Patrick's Day. This is based on actual news from the real world. However, it has been sprinkled with a healthy dose of satire. A miniature horse was recently found wandering the streets of Brownstown, Michigan, following a St. Patty's Day escape from a petting zoo. Driver Michelle Sialkowski.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's like Sial, but Kowski. Told Detroit's ABC7 that she nearly ran over the little guy while driving at 5 a.m. This miniature horse looks just like the one from Old School, where it gets tranquilized and all that. Looks just like that horse. Brian, do you have one?
No, I'm sitting here. Duluth, Georgia police are hot on the trail of a hoofed Houdini, as they call it, an escaped goat who was trotting down Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, which is not an empty road, by the way. But they have not been able to acquire the loose goat. There's some others out there. That one I love just for the look of it. But
yeah, and the puns that they were using.
I have a zebra donkey hybrid caught on camera after an escape from a Michigan farm. Interesting crossbreed there. Yeah.
I'd like to see that thing run in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
How about this article? Way more egg seizures than fentanyl seizures at borders.
Egg seizures.
Make a lot more money on eggs these days.
I'm thinking of like an egg having a seizure. I'm like,
I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if
I mean,
that's
like
possible.
that, maybe you would call that when the chicken is trying to break out of the egg. He's having a little seizure.
There you go. Regardless of which side of the political spectrum you're on, everyone can agree one thing. The price of eggs has gotten ridiculous. Whether it's because of the bird flu, the fact that Easter's just around the corner, or an industry hangover from a particularly busy mischief night last year, or just big egg pulling on one over on us, we're all united in the annoyance of having to put eggs on layaway, which, if you think about it, is how they got here in the first place. There are other things going on, the least from the headlines we read: trade wars, tariffs, borders, all that good stuff. As far as what's going on with them, like we said, we only read the headlines, so we can't get into that. We can, however, definitely say there's an increased presence of Canadian and Mexican borders because they're trying to crack down on contraband being smuggled into the States. If you were to guess the contraband is fentanyl, you'd be right, but also wrong, because there have been more than 10 times the egg and poultry seizures than poultry drug seizures lately. Excuse me. The Logic looked at the number of people attempting to bring eggs and or creatures that laid them into the States. They discovered a 36% increase in Canada since October compared to the same period last year. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Detroit field office, their San Diego field office, located near Tijuana, observed a staggering 158% increase. That's a lot of huevos. That's Spanish for eggs there, David. Although the
I know.
He says marbles, not huevos. I always thought he was going to say huevos. Although the exact number of eggs isn't disclosed, the Logic noted that since October, U.S. CBP we, Customs Border Patrol, officers have made 3,768 seizures of bird and poultry-related products at all U.S. borders, compared to the 352 fentanyl seizures at the same period. That in itself is an issue that we're seizing eggs. I get it, but at the same time, fentanyl's killing so many people.
If this keeps up, Waffle House is just going to have to start serving fentanyl. It's cheaper.
Yeah, right. Although, you never know. You never know.
It is Waffle House.
True story. All right, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by FSU women's golf coach Amy Bond.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 79 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour coming out of the south. Tonight, a mixture of slight fog and some clouds with lows around 67. Tomorrow, a mixture of slight fog and some sun and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 81 and slightly foggy. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Get your mom a beautiful color gemstone that she'll cherish and wear for a lifetime from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. And just in time, Tracy's Fine Jewelry is offering our entire collection of color gemstone jewelry, rings, earrings, pendants, and bracelets at 60% off. That's right, 60% off our entire selection. The largest selection and the lowest prices are just some of the reasons why people choose Tracy's Fine Jewelry to find the perfect gift for Mother's Day. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, 2621 East 15th Street in Panama City.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Join the best of A winning Inside Drive with all your lines, props, and covers. Winning on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. About this time, we were looking at this TV, and Coach Bond was right here in front of us. David, you remember that?
Yeah, just yesterday.
That was pretty cool stuff. The famous Coach Bond right there from the Golf Channel. Amy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I was just thinking about that, too, a little bit ago. I'm like, 24 hours ago, I was way more nervous than I am right now talking to you guys.
It's because you're such a staple here on the Inside Drive that we love every time you come on with us. I'll just jump right into it. Number 3 in the nation. You guys have had an unbelievable season this spring. I know we talked earlier this spring, but has there been a tournament that y'all lost this spring season? Because I just see one, and just pretty incredible run you guys are on.
Yeah, we lost a match play event
that doesn't count.
At Old Barnwell. But we have one match play loss and one stroke play loss. So I'd say overall a very, very consistent spring, and you guys know you win, you lose a lot more in golf than you win. Mm-hmm. So I am certainly, and the team is definitely enjoying this little streak we have going on, and trying to stay focused on what we got to do, but I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of firsts. And then, of course, your recent first, big victory there in the Women's ACC Championship. Talk to us a little bit about, I know it goes to match play in the ACC in that final round. How did it all shake out? And who, obviously, you have two of the best golfers in the world on the amateur side with Lottie and Mirabelle. How did it kind of shake out there at the end of that tournament?
Yeah, so we actually played 3 rounds of stroke play, and then we added Stanford, SMU, and Cal to the conference this year. Yeah. So that gave us 15 teams. So we cut to 6. and the top 2 teams got a bye in the first round of match play, and the other 4 played. So we were lucky enough to be the 2 seed, so we got the bye and beat Cal in the afternoon on Friday. So then you get to Saturday, and Wake had just upset Stanford. So Stanford had 0 losses on the year. Their very first loss came to Wake in match play. So that was a big, big deal for them. And then we as coaches sit down and say, you got 5 players, you got to win 3 of the 5 matches. And you sit there and you go one after the next and kind of pair the players up. Our player, their player, then they go first, and then we pair them against them. So we felt like we had pretty good matchups, but who would have ever thought that we actually sent Lottie out first, just because the pairings worked out that way. So Lottie played Ann from Wake, and unfortunately lost on the 17th hole. Then Mirabelle won her match. Mirabelle was the 4th player out, and she won. I think she won 5 and 4.
Wow.
Or 6 and 5. Yeah, she played great. She was 7 under through 13 holes. So really played some good golf.
Not many people are going to be able to beat that.
No. And then our freshman Sophia Fulbrook was our anchor match, and she too lost. I think she lost 4 and 3. So then it came down to our senior captain, Kayla Williams, who was 1 up through 16. And then our other freshman, Alexandra Gazzoli, who was all square through 17. So Kayla ended up losing 17, but then hit 2 beautiful shots into the par 5 18th, made a 7-foot putt for birdie to clinch her match. And all of our 6 fans that were there went crazy, which was awesome. We didn't have that big a crowd, but they were really loud. And then it came down to Alex. And as soon as Kayla made the putt, we flipped around, and Alex was hitting her second shot into the par 5. Hit it just short of the green. What I didn't know at the time was the player from Wake had actually hit it out of bounds. Word got up to that, and so Carolina from Wake had an opportunity to make par, had about a 40-footer, hit an outstanding putt, just didn't go in. Alex chipped it up to about 15 feet and 2-putted for us to win, and it was unreal. I've waited a long time for this. We've been runner-up 8 times, so to have that shake out kind of on Saturday and for us to actually follow through it and get the job done was something definitely special.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question. When was the last time that FSU golf won an ACC championship? And it sounds like it's been at least 8 years, so congratulations on that achievement. I mean, that's like the Phil Mickelson of the U.S. Open stuff right there, finishing runner-up that many times in a row. But obviously gives you some good momentum, and tell all our listeners where you guys are going for the NCAA regionals. You there? Hey.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Did you hear my question?
No, sorry.
Okay, no, it's
it went dead on me. My fault.
Oh, good. No, you're good. You're good. I was just saying, tell all of our listeners where you guys are headed for the NCAA regionals.
So we are headed to Lexington, Kentucky, to a golf course called King Trace. Never been there,
that's gonna be
but we get to play on some Kentucky bluegrass and some bent grass greens. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for us. We're trying to learn a little bit about the golf course itself, but thank goodness we get a practice round.
Yeah.
So we'll do our research then and let the girls see it at the same time we do.
Now, when it comes to different grasses, I know, Seminole Legacy is a great college golf course because it kind of prepares you for anywhere you can go, because I know you guys built it specifically for it to be pretty challenging, and that's why when people play there, usually y'all come out on top. But is there an opportunity for y'all to be able to prepare for bent grass greens versus, typical Bermuda grass greens that you'll play on down here?
No, not really. We tried a few years ago to build a bent grass putting green. It just gets too hot here.
Yeah, you got to have sub-air, a fan, all that good stuff.
Correct. But I think the good thing is, when players learn on Bermuda, it's a lot easier to transition to
100%,
bent. Because you don't have to worry about the grain piece, stuff like that. So we've played a couple times. We try throughout the year to play a lot of different varieties of grass. So our very first event of the year was in Michigan at the Folds of Honor, and they had some very nice bent grass greens that we had the opportunity to play on. So we've tried to mix them in here and there, but we'll get up there a little bit early on Saturday, and they're gracious enough to open up the golf course from 2 to 6. So we'll get an opportunity to get on the greens and hit a few putts before our practice round on Sunday.
Very cool. This is a selfish question. How was Old Barnwell? Because I know we've talked about the last time you were on there. I'm obviously worked just north of that, North Augusta, South Carolina. But that was kind of a big name course going there in Aiken, just across the river from Augusta National.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is a great track. I'm going to tell you, if you ever get the chance to go play it, play it. It's beautiful. They're actually hosting women's regionals in 2027.
Sweet.
But they've got a great staff. They've built a cute little kids course, kind of a par 3, that has, I believe there's 15 holes, and it's just such a unique place. They're in the process of building the clubhouse. It's not quite finished yet, but just a beautiful piece of property, a lot of land, and they're doing such great things. They're such advocates for women's golf and women's college golf that they're hosting a couple tournaments, and they're also sponsoring some of the kids who've come out of college and are turning pro for their first year out.
Sweet. Very cool. The golf courses that y'all get to play during the season, I mean, you do a fantastic job scheduling, but I mean, was it American Dunes up there in Michigan? Was that the name of that one?
It was, yep.
You got to play American Dunes, Old Barnwell. I mean, the courses y'all get to play are unbelievable. One of the perks of being a collegiate golfer. But let's talk about that one course that everybody knows that you had a couple of your ladies play a few weeks ago, and that was the Augusta National Women's Amateur. They're going to have a house or something for you because you seem to be there every year. But tell us how Lottie and Mirabelle did up there at the Augusta National. Just for those who don't know, making this tournament, you have to be one of the top amateur women golfers in the world. So just to make it to the tournament is a feat that only a few golfers will ever be able to do. But tell us a little bit about how they did up there and the experience, as always, because now you're kind of a staple there at the Augusta National Women's Amateur.
Well, I do enjoy going up there. It's definitely something special, and I never want to take it for granted because you never quite know when I won't have a player there. But top 72 players in the world got to go up there and participate. The cool thing was 49 of the top 50 players in the world actually came this year.
Wow.
So it was the strongest field they've ever had. Lottie was the defending champion, really defended her title very well, had an opportunity to win going into the round at Augusta National on that Saturday. Came up a little short, finished third, but really did a great job of defending her title.
Oh, 100%.
And then Mirabelle struggled the first day, shooting 76. Just gone to world number 2 that morning, so I think the nerves kind of got a little bit of the best of her.
I would have been a little nervous, too.
Yeah. I mean, that was my text that morning. Hey, Coach, look at this person who's now gone to number 2. I think she's a little bit shady. But she was joking about it. But then she showed a lot of grit by coming back in round 2 and shooting 68 and just missing the cut by a shot. So to me, when a kid can do that, when they could struggle in round 1, but really fight to get back in round 2, was big. So I think both of them had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder heading into ACCs because of their finishes. They didn't quite do what they wanted to do at the Augusta National Women's Am. So I'll take that. I thought they represented us very well, and such a strong field. But Augusta National and their members in that committee do such a good job. I mean, they literally spoil the girls. And we just had a wonderful time up there. It's a nice week for me. It's my least stressful week of the year because I am purely a cheerleader. So
which is fun.
I love that piece. So not only do I just get to be the cheerleader, but I get to enjoy one of the most beautiful places on earth as a golfer.
Yeah, no doubt. Special indeed. How many years in a row is that now?
This is 6.
Jeez.
Well, they didn't host in 2020, but I think this was the 6th one, so I've been 5 times.
Wow.
I made the mistake the first year.
I remember that. Yes. You'll never do that again. You schedule specifically that week is always open for tournaments, which, if you continue doing what you're doing there at FSU, you're going to have a lot more future players participating in that tournament. Fair to say that, one of the most exclusive, nicest golf courses in the world is also technically maybe the biggest ambassador for the game of golf as well, with the Augusta National Women's Amateur. Obviously, the Masters has been going on forever. And then, of course, the drive, chip, and putt as well.
No doubt. I mean, it is so special. They are bringing so many more people to the game of golf just by, all of us fans. I'm super jealous that these young ladies get to play Augusta National. They all are guaranteed to play. But also bringing in the juniors with the drive, chip, and putt the very next day. So Augusta National Women's Am ends on Saturday, drive, chip, and putt on Sunday, and then the Masters Week starts on Monday. So special for everybody associated with it, including, I think, some of the professionals that are playing in the Masters that week, to be able to see the women, see the kids, and then start their week. I think it's fun for everybody, and hats off to Augusta National for allowing all of us to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Augusta National, one of the best in the biz when it comes to that kind of stuff. Pivoting back over to the regional coming up, I believe May 5th. Is it 3 days? May 5th, 6th, and 7th?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is this just purely stroke play for the regional?
It is. They like to switch it up, Okay. We're going to go match play or stroke play, match play for conference. Then we're going to flip back to our regularly scheduled program in 3 rounds of 18, so 54 holes for regional, 12 teams at each region. There's 6 regions, 12 teams at each region, with the top 5 getting out and making the national championship in California basically a week later. So 30 teams will make it out to San Diego at La Costa.
Yep, second year for that golf course, right? And now that it hopefully should be a little more mature, a little more receptive. I know last year they played the national championship both on the men's and women's side. Pretty fresh into that course being renovated, if I'm not mistaken.
It was quite firm. So yes, we are all looking forward. We are all looking forward to it being a little softer. The green's a little more receptive. But it's a fun golf course to play. But yeah, that was the biggest thing last year is. Probably wasn't quite ready, but, the players did a good job of adjusting to the firmness when they could.
Yeah, and the thing about golf is everybody's got to play in the same conditions. But so now the ACC Championship a little bit now. What does it look like between now and the regionals for y'all? Like normal practice schedule, workouts, nutrition, mental, all that stuff?
You name it, they're doing it. So keeping the same stuff. This is actually the last week of classes. Finals are next week. A lot of them don't have finals, so they're kind of done. So they had workouts, for example, they had workouts this morning, which is a normal Tuesday, Thursday event. So workouts this morning from 7 to 8, and we go right into practice at 9. So 9 to 12, but now they can actually, they've just left for lunch. They'll come back and they'll practice a little bit this afternoon. More play type stuff. So we do the structured stuff kind of in the morning now, and more of the fun play stuff in the afternoon, because you want to keep an even balance. You don't want to run them into the ground. Mm-hmm. The rest is going to be important. Yeah. But fine-tuning short game putting, uneven lies with wedges, those kind of things. So that's what we're going to focus on.
Yeah, that was kind of my reason for asking the question. We talk about this every year with you because you guys are in the national championship every year, and it's such a grind. I mean, not just the conference championship, but then, you play a regional, you're playing, practice round, 3 straight days of grueling golf. And then if you make it to the national championship, it's practice round, 3 rounds of stroke play, then a cut, then another round of stroke play, and then 3 days worth of match play. So how much do you focus on rest during these kind of periods of time? Obviously, you got to keep practicing and doing all your normal stuff, but do you allocate any more time for rest and stuff like that?
For sure. I mean, we'd be crazy if we didn't. I mean, the national championship is, if you go all the way, it's 8 rounds in 7 days.
That's insane.
So. It's a lot of golf, and as an 18 to 22-year-old, you think you are like the Energizer Bunny, mm-hmm. and you're never going to slow down. That there is a limit to what they can do, but we really do focus on the rest. Maribel will tell you, Coach, I need my nap in the afternoon. So if they could get 20 or 30 minutes in the afternoon, they're definitely going to take it. But we'll give them the weekend off to kind of go through whatever they want to do, if they want to rest or they want to get away from golf a little bit. I think that's important too, just to kind of clear their heads and know that regionals is just another week. It's just another tournament. And same for the national championship. You want them to keep that kind of same routine, but they're out there a long time, so you just got to get the rest when you can.
Yep. How much do you focus on hydration the night and day before? That's kind of an overall broad sports question that I know is important, but wanted to kind of hear it from you.
Yeah, it's huge. Actually, we start, if you're starting just a day or two before, you're probably too far behind. So we try to start at least a week ahead of time, really focused on, hey, let's stick to water. You know, for me, the kids can drink and drink whatever they want, you know, as far as Cokes and things like that. But when we get about 5 days out, we put a little more focus on water and electrolytes. I mean, one of mine told me last week, she's like, Coach, I just don't feel good. Like, I feel fine, but I feel off.
Yeah.
And lots of times it's that electrolyte piece. So I'm like, all right, we try to get them to drink at least half a Powerade a night and 2 to 3 bottles of water just to kind of stay hydrated. Because you all know we're out in the hot sun all day long.
Yeah.
If the breeze is blowing just a little bit, it's just enough for you to think, oh, I'm not thirsty. I'm not hot. I'm good. So we've really made it a point. We've given them big, giant water bottles and said, all right, you got to drink this a day. And they do it. You know, that's important to them.
Yeah.
So we're not forcing it on them. But we did have a big learning curve this year where we said, you know, you're supposed to drink half your body weight in water or half your body weight in ounces of water per day. And they're like, what?
That's the reality, because it's never really taught to you kind of growing up. It's, you know, until you really start specializing in sports and learning how important that hydration is. But yeah, half your body weight in ounces. Probably most people are not even close to that. But yeah, and does the you know, you're playing in Palm Desert there for the national championship. Obviously, it was in Grayhawk before that, in the desert as well. That's a lot less humidity than we're used to over here in the great state of Florida. So is hydration even more important when you're going out to those dry air places?
Huge. Again, you feel like you're cool out there. You know, I like Florida because when I get out of my car right now, I'm already sweating because it's so humid. But out there, it's so dry. So we got to focus on the hydration piece and make sure we have stuff for nosebleeds, because that's going to happen too, just because it's so dry out there. But so many things you don't think about.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, but we try to be prepared enough to go, okay, what's next? Have some cooling towels just in case.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, you know, drinking the water, drinking some Powerade. By the way, they love blue Powerade. That's their go-to. But it's those little things that make the difference, because you could play some great golf, but if you're not feeling it, you know, quickly, you're going to really start to slow down.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect your mental capabilities as well. So we try to do a good job. Sometimes it bites us, but for the most part, we've worked really hard, and the girls have done a really good job of focusing on that hydration and staying ahead of the game.
Absolutely. Well, Amy, we appreciate your time as always, and best of luck, as we're always rooting for the Lady Seminoles in the golf world here on the Inside Drive. Good luck at the Lexington Regional. You can check out all the Florida State women's golf information on social media or Seminoles.com. Amy, good luck and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you guys having me on. And for everybody out there, think good thoughts, and let's go Noles.
There you go.
Noles.
Good luck. Thank you, Amy. Have a great day. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive. Final segment coming up next.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, PCB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN, Northwest Florida.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction, be part of a winning team.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. This is not for the casual fan. This is for the warriors. This is for the legends.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Up all night to get touched. Kind of sounds like Pharrell a little bit there, but good one. You guys had one that I hadn't heard yesterday on the Afternoon Underdogs, and I was gonna text you, but then I didn't because I didn't want to bother you. But it was
it'll never bother me, brother. I just respond or I don't.
Yeah, it's true. But there was one that you played, and you're like, we got to take that one off the docket.
That was one,
or that was yesterday here.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, real quick, we ran a little.
And I don't even remember which one it is now, so we'll have to.
Obviously, you didn't take it off the docket right then and there. All right, real quick, I'm just going to go through the baseball regional stuff and give you some updates. Mosley played their first game at Columbia against Columbia last night, and in a hard-fought battle, lost that first game 2-1, and it's out there in Columbia because even though Mosley's a higher seed, Columbia won their district, so they're hosting. So game 2 will be coming up tonight, and that's 7 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, you can probably find that streamed as if you remember that Florida High School Sports Network. I think all the playoff games at this point are streamed on there. So Mosley takes them on. Hopefully they can tie it up. Looks like it was a close game yesterday, only a one-run game. Niceville beat Milton 7-3. They take a 1-0 series lead over there in Niceville. On the bottom side of the Region 1 bracket, Gulf Breeze beat Childs 5-4. They have a 1-0 lead in that series. Lincoln beat Ponte Vedra 3-1 in that opening series game, so they lead 1-0 as well in that best-of-3 series. I think at the time, Choctawhatchee had already moved on. Was anybody tied 1-1? Nope, that one's still the same in the 4A. I'll look at the 3A.
Bozeman and Bowles are tied 1-1. Which, by the way...
Game's tonight, right?
Right, but it is in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So the first two games...
Yeah.
The
first
Bowles
2 games were over there at Bozeman.
First 2 at Bozeman. If there's a third, it goes to the lower
Which I hate that. I was talking because we had Banji on yesterday. And, because when we left the Inside Drive yesterday, we thought that it was going to be all 3 games.
Yeah. I didn't realize that the first 2 were at Bozeman.
I get it, and obviously you can't bounce back and forth 1-1 with all the expense.
It's tough to bounce back after 2 and 3, too.
Yeah, it'd be neat if it was all 3 and it'd be, but I think it is kind of neat, if you're the underdog team and you sneak one. On the road, that you get a chance to win it on your home field. So I don't
Look at you using some optimism there.
Yeah, it didn't feel right.
Didn't sound right.
I'm changing my mind. It's a stupid idea.
There you go. Now we agree.
Game 3 will be played tonight at UNF. University.
Oh, that's
of North
pretty
Florida.
cool, though.
So
if
they're
you're
playing at the college stadium.
Yeah, if you're a Bozeman baseball player, you get to go over there, play on a collegiate field. That's pretty cool.
Pretty neat. So yeah, if whoever wins that game will move on to play Bishop Snyder, who is the number 2 seed. Not sure where Bishop Snyder is, but obviously if Bozeman ends up winning tonight, which I hope they do, they'll be playing and traveling to Bishop Snyder. Over there on the other side of the Region 1 2A state championship.
Also
Jacksonville. So shoot. Actually, it would be Monday and Tuesday. Probably cheaper to take the bus back than try to find hotels for that long. But anyways, that's your Class 2A. So keep it up. Also, in the middle school side of things, University Academy will be taking on Freeport in the middle school baseball championship. That'll be at the Public Sports Park tonight at 5 p.m. We're going to try to sneak out there for a little bit before our basketball game tonight. So good luck to the University Academy Eagles as they're trying to win another championship in sports, even though baseball is a little different because it's not just Bay County. They play teams from all over. Maybe there'll be some future Bay County teams. I think it's a matter of having places to play, if I'm not mistaken on that. All right, gentlemen.
Where?
Yeah, true story. Let's see. I had it up. There's a lot of different things you can do when it comes to the NFL draft starting tonight. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on, they have a bet for Mr. Irrelevant. Not who's it going to be, but what position is it going to be. So the lowest odds is defensive line edge at plus 325, offensive lineman plus 400, wide receiver plus 475, cornerback plus 700, running back plus 800, quarterback throwing the ball 800, linebacker plus 1100, safety 12, tight end 2000, punter, kicker, long snapper plus 2500.
Yeah, give me the long shot.
More than likely that's going to be based on draft eligible players at each position. I'm sure Edge has a bunch. I would take corner. I like those. I always like bets like that in that plus 500 800 range in general. And what was corner at 700? I think
plus 700.
And there's a lot of corners out there, and it's always a position of need. So that's what I would take.
All right. Well, that's what I did based on your.
Oh, there you go.
So we'll see.
So you can blame me.
No. I don't look for scapegoats when it comes to betting. I am my own scapegoat when it comes to making poor financial decisions. All right, let's have some fun. Let's pick these games tonight. You guys want to go against the spread or just straight up?
Your call. Dealer's choice.
Are these like pick picks?
No, they're not pick picks.
Okay,
but just picking the games for tonight for fun.
Let's utilize the spread.
All right. Against the spread. All right, well, I need to pull up my phone then because I want to give people accurate spread information for the only book that they can bet on here in the state of Florida. We'll start with the NHL side of things. David Hayes, your Tampa Bay Lightning, trying to get that series even 1-1. They are minus 1.5 at home. The Tampa Bay, that makes them plus 180 if you were to bet that. Panthers are plus 1.5, and they're minus 250 with the plus 1.5. Straight up, Panthers are plus 105, Lightning plus minus 125. Go ahead, David.
I like. Let's go Lightning. I don't think we win by 2 goals though, so I would take the Cats with plus 1.5 and the Lightning money line.
I like it.
And I guess I'll go over again because they've scored a lot of goals
in just one game though.
Yeah.
I've watched very little hockey lately, so it's going to be hard for me. Give me Lightning in the over.
It's a guess anyway. Lightning minus 1.5. I like it. They're going to have to bounce back big time. They got whooped up 6-2 in that first game, so maybe it'll be a switch 6-2 Lightning over the Panthers. But they got to get this game, in my opinion, because going to Florida's home rink next is going to be a tough place to play. The Rats will be coming out again. All right, the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ottawa is minus 1.5 in this one at home. Of course, the series switched. Toronto's up 2-0. Give me Toronto plus 1.5 on that. That's
easy.
Yeah, and give me the money line plus 110.
I might actually find a way to bet that.
That's shocking.
But my rule is I have to be in a casino, so I got to drive over there. No,
well, if you decide to go with Hard Rock, let me know, and I'll send you my link. It gets us each free $50.
I need it not to be easy.
I know. Oh, but
I love
there's table tennis on there,
Look,
Brian.
Toronto winning a cup would be akin to the Red Sox getting theirs in 04.
Without a doubt.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So You know, if my Preds can't win it, which they stink, and if the
Did you
Lightning,
see they're doing a new arena.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
okay. And if the
just submitted
Lightning,
plans
who's my
to-
adopted team, can't win it, then I would love to see the Maple Leafs win it. That would be cool.
Yeah, we'll celebrate with some syrup.
Not me. I don't want to see.
I
You
understand.
want to see no Canucks.
Yeah.
Not Canucks, but Canadians.
Yeah.
Or,
The-
Canucks and Canadians are both teams.
I got
so
my
that's
Rangers
confusing.
one in '94. I'm good for another 50 years,
There
so
you
I'm
go.
good there.
Ugh, the Rangers. Mark Messier.
Devils fan.
The devil. The devil. We're down 0-2, which is not surprising because we're just not that good. All right. So, David, you take Toronto plus 1.5
yeah.
all day.
Absolutely.
All day. It seems that's one of those that just sticks out. It seems like you should bet
Which
this.
means
means Vegas knows.
Yeah, which means something's up, and I don't know, maybe Austin Matthews has the flu or something like that. The next game is the Knights and the Minnesota Wild. That series, I believe, is 1-1, right? Yeah, series tied 1-1. It's kind of been tale of two of the same situations, just reversed. Who do you think's favored in that one? It's in Minnesota.
I think
not a
Vegas
hint.
is still.
Yeah, they are 1.5, but that's plus 160 if you bet it minus 1.5.
What's the money line looking like?
Plus 130 for the Wild and minus 150 for the Knights.
Gotcha. I would take. I like Minnesota to win Game 3 here.
All right.
So I'll take them with the money line.
I want to take a selfish bet. I'm going to take the Knights because I want the Knights to be, still playing because I'm going to be in Vegas in about 3 weeks. So
That'd be
I want to
awesome,
make sure they're still around so maybe I can get out to a game.
Let's find Brian some playoff tickets. That would be a in
I would
Vegas
love
too.
it.
Dang, that would be epic. We
That
gotta
would
get you
be
some
real
tickets
fun.
to that. Hopefully, they're still around by that time.
I've never been to an NHL playoff game, but
I have.
Yeah?
I have. I actually saw the Predators' first ever home playoff.
That had to have been electric.
And actually, I was at an NHL playoff game at that time it was the Gaylord. Now it's the Bridgestone, whatever it is. When
Good name change.
Mickelson won his first Masters.
Wow, 2004.
Because we were in a skybox, and all the skyboxes had it
the Masters on.
and the game happened to be in a timeout when the putt went in, and the skyboxes went crazy.
That's awesome.
And the people down in the crowd were yelling up, "Did he make it?" And so I never forget that.
Woo, how fun. That's good stuff. But yeah, I've been to one playoff game. That was when Brodeur scored a goal.
Okay.
I believe it was against the Flyers, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, last game, real quick, Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues. Winnipeg is a 1.5 point favorite. What do you guys think?
what's the series at? Winnipeg up 2-0 on St. Louis?
Yeah,
I believe it is 2-0.
Yep.
Give me St. Louis to get a game here.
Ooh, I like it. At home. First game at home.
America, baby. Give me St. Louis.
All right. There you go.
If there was a Canadian team that I would want to win, it would probably be Winnipeg.
The
Yeah, 'cause
Jets.
there's nothing else going on up there. It's Winnipeg, for crying out loud.
Oh, goodness. But beautiful this time of year, I've heard.
They've changed their name to Win a Cup.
Yeah.
How long has it been? Has there not been a Canadian team since the Canadians in 93?
93, yep.
Wow.
Yep, because it was the year before the Rangers.
And Caveman Rick was telling me yesterday how they're like the Yankees of the NHL. They got like 20-something cups.
Yep,
I mean,
because they did it in a 20-year
yeah.
span. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maurice the Rocket Richard. With that being said, y'all have a great rest of your Thursday. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4. Braves first pitch tonight, I believe, at 8:40.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, it's Thursday. No Braves tonight, so they can't lose. They can't win either. You guys been listening to The Inside Drive. Go chat out. Thanks for hanging out.
Yes, sir.
See you next week.